The disturbing rise of iPad kids.
Welcome to the age of iPad kids. Gen Z, we're told, is terrified by the prospect of raising a generation of children who are slaves to their iPads. The term iPad kids is commonly used to describe children who are raised without any restrictions on
Oh my god. Bro, look at this. Look at him. He's doing two things at like, I don't know, 5, 6? This is crazy. And it's not like he's doing like one active thing and one passive thing. And he's got like a little toy thing right here. Like a toy wrestling ring. He's doing like two active things. He's like clicking the short and playing Minecraft. Bro, it's a chore enough for me. Or at least, I think my mom does this sometimes. She'll be like on the couch, like reading a book, but then she'll have the TV on, but it's muted. So it's like you're doing like one active thing and one passive thing. This dude's doing like two active things.
their screen time. And the topic, ironically enough, gains
Or maybe that was just like a like a little joke.
significant traction on TikTok amongst TikTok kids. There is now a whole genre of TikTok videos that have garnered millions of views, where users openly criticize and ridicule the behaviors of iPad kids, throwing tantrums when the devices are taken away, displaying a complete disinterest in engaging with others, lacking the ability to play with traditional toys, etc. But behind all the sarcasm and dark humor lies a whole host of uncomfortable truths about where our society is going. The kids of today are bad, but the kids of tomorrow will be living a life we can't even think of.
I can't even think of it. Bro, like just recently I heard of like something on like the radio of like a 17-year-old kid like throwing a fit and like assaulting their teacher because the teacher did something like take away like a Nintendo Switch or something, but the kid has a like autism. He has like ADHD and a bunch of like other things that go along with it, and one of the triggers is like electronics or something, or something like that. I don't remember. And I was just listening to this thing on the radio, like what the heck? And like the teacher took the thing away, and the kid just starts like wailing on the teacher, but the kid's 17. Or I forgot like how old he was. I think it was 17. Oh my god, I'm like, this is crazy, dude.
Alpha is something we don't want to think about. But what's actually going to happen to these kids in the future? But to understand what's going to happen and why iPad kids are such a terrifying phenomena, we need to look at how things were.
That's crazy.
Ago. It wasn't long ago when it was normal for children to play outside, unsupervised for extended periods of time, specifically to play with other kids from their neighborhoods.
Oh, what's this movie? Oh crap, I forgot this movie. This is a good ass movie.
Parents probably did the same, all for extended periods of time.
The one with the dog over the fence. Oh man.
Completely unsupervised, playing sports, building forts, and climbing trees. And doing this helped children develop useful skills for their adult years. They learn how to communicate, how to negotiate, how to delegate, how to defend themselves, how to make friends, and the importance of teamwork.
Bro, when I was a little kid, what was I doing? I mean, I wasn't completely I don't know, torn away from electronics. Like when I was a little kid, I had like a Game Boy. I had like like an SNES, a Sega. But before those things, I don't really remember what I had. I think I had like Pokemon cards. My mom got me like the first pack of like Pokemon cards. It was like the main one with, it was like a Machamp or something. Came in like the main set, and that was like the cool card. And then from there on, like in many years afterward, I would just bug my mom to like, oh, can we go to 7-Eleven or can we go to Circle K? Can we go get a booster pack, mom? Like just one. That's all I would ask for anytime. And oh my god, she's a saint for like keeping up with my bullshit for all those years. Like Jesus. And I remember like back in the day, a booster pack was like what, like $4 and about 25 cents or something like that. But yeah, I couldn't even fathom like being raised on an iPad. I mean, I think like in my friend group of around like middle school or I think it was about middle school. I was like one of the last kids to get a cell phone, and I didn't even get like a cool cell phone. I had like the Nokia one, the indestructible Nokia. It had Snake on it, and it had that one game of like Brick Breaker, where the ball goes up and it breaks a brick, and you just move the platform underneath it. So I had that and Snake. But some kids were able to get a Razor, like a Samsung Razor phone, and that was, if you got that phone, you were the cool kid because it was the flip phone. Um, yeah, but god dang, I can't imagine like being 4, 5, 6 and just having access to an iPad, having a whole cell phone, like a smartphone, like how it is today. That's crazy.
Help them develop lifelong friendships. Play helped these children develop as humans to become, as the author Nicholas Taleb said, anti-fragile. It fostered creativity. Play, along with other key components like community, traditional family values, and religion, helped form what philosopher Peter Berger called a sacred canopy, an invisible structure that stretched over society, providing a shield that protects people from the uncertainties and cruelties of life. Outdoor, unsupervised play helped create better citizens and, in turn, a better society. However, in the early 80s,
Yeah, I mean, me and my friends did a lot of that. I remember going to my boy Julian's house, and on like the entire block, he was like, I think the only house on the block before like they came in like years later and started like building other houses. But before that, like we went across the street and there was like, I think it wasn't him, but like maybe somebody else on like the other block. Like they came in and they like made a little motorcycle route or whatever, and it was like stamped down like sand paths that you could like walk on, or just like ride motors like dirt bikes and shit on. Like there were ramps and stuff, but we didn't have any motorbikes. But we thought it was like the coolest place to build like a tree forts, play like hide and seek at night with like camouflage and shit. Or we did like the kid version was called hide and seek, but like the adult version was called manhunt. There was like no difference. There's literally no difference. And then it was even cooler. Like you did it at night, but it was cooler if you did it around like 4th of July or New Year's, because then you could get fireworks. And then at the time you could get like these little spherical smoke bombs, but it was windy. So what you had to do was you go on like the one side of the woods, like you feel which way the wind is blowing, then you light the smoke bomb off, and you put like a line of them on one side of the woods so the wind would just cover the woods and just like smoke bomb smoke. And honestly, it was funny because it was like pink, blue, yellow, whatever, green, red, like all the colors of just like in the woods, but it made it so much more like eerie and cool. And yeah, we did a ton of stuff. We played like soccer and football outside. But what I'm remembering is that we always had the option to go inside and play like N64 or GameCube or PlayStation 1 or 2. I can't remember. But yeah, we were completely fine like playing outside and just doing dumb shit.
Outdoor unsupervised play became far less frequent, replaced instead by closely monitored trips to the park and heavily supervised playdates. By 1997, the year Generation C officially began, the days of widespread unstructured play were officially dead. And fast forward to today, an outdoor unsupervised play has almost been entirely replaced by indoor unsupervised screen time, and family time replaced by screen time. Today's children suffer from nature deficit disorder, a term coined by author Richard Louv.
We're creating an environment in which I believe, by definition, they are less alive. What parent wants their child to be less alive? What teacher?
Well, what by whatever his definition is, no parent really wants to have their kid be less alive. But I mean, at the end of the day, you leave it up to the parent to figure out: am I just gonna leave my kid to do whatever he wants on like a Nintendo Switch or an iPad or like the smartphone, and just leave them to their devices?
Wants their students to be less alive.
At the same time, rates of childhood conduct disorder, a precursor to psychopathy, continues to increase. This worrying rise is completely connected to a lack of unsupervised play and the fact that more and more parents are outsourcing their role as primary caregivers. And outsourcing to who? Well, the people who control.
What was that? What did that say?
more parents are outsourcing their role as primary care.
Many children under 5 are left to their mobile devices, for survey finds. And many parents are outsourcing their, what did he say, like teaching?
Caregivers. And outsourcing to who? Well,
outsourcing their caregiving duties and whatnot. I kind of believe it, but aren't there like a lot of single moms out there though? So like you got like, I don't know, I can only speak from like the United States standpoint. I mean, I think he did mention like the entire world it's going up, but like I can only see it from like the US standpoint. Like, aren't people like getting married less and having kids less? And if there are kids, the chances of you having like 2 parents are drastically like have gone down, and there's just more just single moms. Is what it kind of feels like. I mean, I don't know for sure, but I mean, yeah, if you're just like a single mom, that's got to be hard as shit to like raise a kid and like provide for yourself and your kid.
The people who control the algorithms. Artificial intelligence like Siri, Alexa, and a whole host of other artificial creations have zero interest in protecting the most vulnerable, and instead using them as pawns to advertise to, mold, and create into the ideal people for Amazon, Apple, or whatever big tech company.
Oh, Jesus.
These advanced algorithms target babies and toddlers, identifying their weaknesses and exploiting them mercilessly, so as they grow up, they're always dependent on their tablets, and the effects of this will be...
Isn't there like a child lock or like a parental mode on off on these things? Like if you're a parent and you leave and you give the kid the iPad, do you turn the parental settings on or off? I'd be curious to see like how many parents do or don't do that.
Disastrous for society. But the problem is today it's more and more tempting to rely on screens. Parents today have so many things to do. Both parents usually work now because no one has any money anymore. And so when parents come back exhausted, it's just so much easier to give their kid an iPad while the parents can relax for an hour or two. But ongoing...
Yeah, because you just want your kid to be happy. You don't care how they're happy. You just want your kid to be happy. For me, I was constantly bugging my mom for Pokemon cards and the newest video game. I guess for kids nowadays, it's just like, I need an iPad, I need a smartphone, I gotta play video games with my friends online or whatever.
Research consistently highlights the long-term effects of excessive screen time on kids. Such effects include memory impairment, reduced emotional control, heightened levels of apathy and anxiety, lower levels of empathy, delays in speech and language development, and even criminal behavior. And when parents aren't watching their young ones, sexual predators are. And I mean that quite literally.
So what are the news reporters gonna hang on to now if they can't grasp onto violent video games? You think they're gonna come out and say, oh, all these iPads are creating criminals? I don't think they're ever gonna do that, dude.
But more on that later. In 2017, psychologist Dr. Jean M. wrote for The Atlantic that Generation Z has
and also just be prepared for that wave when the next Grand Theft Auto comes out. Be prepared for that wave of every news media source on the planet. Be like, are violent video games affecting our kids? Just be ready to run that whole script down. It's coming.
Many ways been destroyed by the rise of smartphones. And we all know this. Generation Z is more anxious, more depressed, more suicidal, less likely to date, less likely to have sex, less likely to venture outside, less likely to have any friends, less likely to talk to family members, more lonely, more isolated, and more depressed. Generation Z is down bad. We all can see this. It's a horrific transformation in the last few decades that has created the generation we see today. But just think of Generation Alpha, i.e. the iPad kids, who are going to be even sicker, dumber, sadder, and more lonely than Generation Z is today. Not to mention fatter. You see, children in the past would engage in hours of play every day, which not only allowed them to burn calories and maintain their
yes,
physical fitness, but also facilitated social interaction, enhanced cognitive abilities, and alleviated stress.
Yes, that is true, but like even when I was a little kid, I don't really think I had a lot of friends that were girls. I usually just hung out with like my guy friends, because we all like the same things. We all like certain sports. We all like video games. We all like getting like just playing outside, messing around, and doing dumb shit. We didn't. I don't know. Like even at like a young age, the girls hung out with the girls and the boys hung out with the boys. Why do you think that's such a like even on like a stereotype, even in movies, like when kids go to the dance in high school, like there's the line in the court, and all the boys are sitting on one side, and all the girls are sitting on the other side. It was prevalent, kind of back then, even to some degree.
However, as playtime is diminished, all aspects of childhood development have been negatively affected, with the consequences on health and obesity being particularly concerning. The association between increased screen time and obesity is undeniable. More screen time activity tends to go hand in hand, or
More screen time, more obesity. I kind of believe that. Jeez.
and mouth, with higher food consumption and less long-term gratification. Multiple studies have demonstrated that prolonged screen exposure actually leads to a heightened desire for food and increased snacking habits amongst children and teenagers.
Oh, wow.
To compound this, studies show that the most
more snacking habits. I mean, I don't know. It really depends on like the parents' outlook on life and how they like really raise their kids. Like because how many times have you like looked up like some diet and the diet is telling you to eat like many small meals a day? I mean, that's kind of like snacking. But I mean, if you're just referring to like a standard American diet and excessive snacking, well then yeah, I'd agree with you. But like there are a lot of diets that promote like eating a lot of types of foods that you just, go to the store and make your own food. And once the food is made, like meal prep and just snack throughout the day with like smaller meals instead of like your standard breakfast, lunch, dinner.
Obese children go on to become obese adults. In fact, about 55% of kids who are obese during their childhood will continue to be obese during their adolescence, ostracizing them even further. That's why it's now estimated that around 80% of adolescents who are obese will still be obese when they reach adulthood.
Oh my God.
Ostracizing them further and further, making them more unhealthy, making them have less testosterone, and less...
Bro, why are you using Nikocado Avocado as like the example, dude? This is a character. This isn't an actual person. He's playing a character, dude.
Ability to actually enjoy life as they should be. And if you don't believe me, most children now have a cell phone by the age of 7. Just
Dang.
look around you. So many kids at restaurants everywhere you go are on their iPads.
That's crazy.
Or their iPhones, going online for hours at a time, doing things that their parents are completely oblivious to.
And I bet you they're not watching videos about their own generation and how like being online with social media as a 7-year-old is healthy or unhealthy for them. I bet they're not watching those videos.
Fueling a huge mental health epidemic for children, which is why in recent years, there have been record levels of sadness and self-harm within kids. Instagram in particular has been found to have detrimental effects on mental well-being. A study investigating the frequency of Instagram use revealed a strong link between its usage and various negative outcomes such as depression, lower self-esteem, appearance anxiety, and body dissatisfaction.
Oh, Jesus.
Millions of children
I mean, like I got like an Instagram, but like I'm not really on it. Like, cause I know, dude, like if I'm on that shit, I'd be like scrolling for pictures and like, it's, what's that saying? Like, comparison is the thief of enjoyment. Yeah, 100%, dude. All it is like comparing and seeing what other people are doing. I mean, that's all it really is.
as young as 10 use Instagram and are regularly bombarded with sexualized imagery and traumatizing self-harm footage. Not to mention always feeling insecure compared to the people who live better lives than you, or at least they seem to. So is it any wonder that kids today are so miserable if we're setting them up like this in the first place? Their innocence is being ripped away from them at such a young age and replaced with something truly awful. Even YouTube Kids, designed specifically to cater to children as young as 4, is really not safe at all. The application has been shown to offer children content of a
I have no idea about anything on this side of YouTube, like YouTube Kids or how the algorithm works, because I know like there's a trend, or not a trend, but like there's this thing like I know the algorithm is different, and like one of the things is that when little kids watch a video and like they don't know really how to like skip an ad, so they just think it's like part of the video. And then if they're watching like a channel and the channel has like this video is going to pop up next type of deal, the next video from that channel is also going to pop up, because the kids don't really understand yet how to like scroll down, scroll left, right, zoom in, zoom out, and just pick a different video from like somewhere else. they're just gonna let the videos play or something like that. So there's like things like that, like how like I navigate YouTube now would be completely different than how a little kid navigates YouTube.
Sexual nature, as well as material focusing on alcohol and drug consumption, predator content, and other strange things, really not meant for.
Yeah, this is like really weird. This is like the weird side of YouTube. Like the videos are meant for kids, but they just have like this eerie like vibe to them.
4-year-olds. More recently, a number of reports have emerged regarding harmful material on YouTube that specifically targets children as young as 2.
Have isolated.
So half the material on YouTube Kids targets kids as young as 2. Bro, who is getting their kids like devices at 2? Like what?
Some of these so people can understand exactly what we're talking about. On the left of the screen, there's the real episode of Peppa Pig when Peppa goes to the dentist. And on the right, that fake that you're talking about, fear, torturous appearance. And here's another example that we pulled from Paw Patrol, which.
What? This is real Paw Patrol. Okay, this is fake Paw Patrol. Oh wow. So the fake ones have to depict themselves as like a little scarier. For whatever, I would love to know like the reasoning behind like the people that make this type of content. I would love to hear the reasoning behind, you know, the type of thumbnail, why they're making it. Well, not so much the why. It's like money, duh. But like, why, if you're trying to make money, like, why do you try to like do it here? Like, this is your stamp on life. I don't know. It's just weird. It's not necessarily wrong. I mean, maybe I haven't seen enough reasoning to like change my mind, but like, I don't know. It just feels weird.
You mentioned firefighter to the rescue, and then on the right, the fake, the crash, the death, the fear.
Basically, nefarious individuals have tampered with content from.
Bro, like, what was that? Like, if I'm a little kid and I see like this, like anything, like, what the fuck was this, dude?
Basically, nefarious individuals.
Bro, if I see anything like this, I am not clicking this as a little kid. Like, what is going on?
Have tampered with content.
What did that say?
The fear.
Basically, nefarious individuals have.
Kissy Missy poop under the Christmas door. Huggy Wuggy crashed into a kawaii door. Like, what is this, dude? This is Kissy Missy crash and fart.
Have tampered with content from popular and cherished children's franchises, including well-known shows like Peppa Pig, Nickelodeon's Paw Patrol, and Disney's Froze. These perpetrators have inserted inappropriate and unsettling content featuring beloved characters, causing subliminal trauma to unsuspecting toddlers. And these are the people bringing up children today. When you get parents out or they come back from work all tired and exhausted, they just give the iPad to the kid who is then raised by these predators. The girls seem to have it way worse than the boys. It's just more and
Girls have a harder time than boys online. I get it, because, well, I think the more, like, if you go onto like things like Instagram or TikTok, I think just people in general get fed like the more popular videos more. And what is that going to do? That's more likely going to be like videos that feature like, I don't know, females in them. At the age, I don't know. I'm not really on TikTok, because who consumes content more online, guys or girls? I would probably say guys consume more content online than girls, but the girls that do consume content online are getting fed about the same content. I mean, yes, it will be catered a little more in their like specific things that they like, but if it's like your first time on the internet or whatever, you're just going to get fed like the most popular shit.
more we find out how bad social media really is for women in particular. We've all seen these articles like teen girls are facing a mental health epidemic, teen girls report record levels of sadness, American teen girls are not okay, each one loaded with these horrific stories and weird side effects. And in recent times, psychological professionals have seen a huge rise in individuals seeking help for mental health disorders and symptoms.
Yeah, with all the filters from Instagram. I mean, essentially, just stay off Instagram, dude. Jeez. Like, because like the body dysmorphia, there is a little bit of body dysmorphia for men online, but I think it's way more uh I don't know, prevalent with like female content.
Resembling Tourette syndrome, and it's coming out more and more that TikTok's actually to blame here, as these are now being called TikTok tics, where young individuals, particularly young girls, are manifesting symptoms of various disorders due to exposure to social media influencers who themselves exhibit these symptoms.
What? POV, you have Tourette's. You're a multi-dimensional experiencing human life on Earth, and your tics are just glitches.
These symptoms. TikTok tics are distinct from what medical professionals usually see in patients with Tourette's. They're an example of mass sociogenic illness, or mass hysteria, where behaviors, emotions, or conditions spread spontaneously within a group, including online groups. Moreover, the more time individuals, especially girls, spend on social networking websites, the more likely they are to experience psychological distress and even contemplate.
Wait, multiple studies have found that a strong link between heavy social media, okay, so I guess heavy social media consumption, and an increased risk for depression, anxiety, loneliness, self-harm, and even suicidal thoughts. Yeah, I get that. I buy that. I believe that.
Ending their life. With 60% of young girls claim they have now experienced bullying online as well, just compounding the mental health epidemic even more.
I think everybody experiences bullying online. I mean, shit, I fucking still experience bullying online, but who gives a shit? But I would say that like bullying in real life and bullying online are so different. Like at least online, it's just I would say it's just words, but like depending on like if you're trying to create something online or something like that, you can kind of take it to heart or whatever. I mean, to some degree, like there is a piece of me that wants to say like you better toughen the fuck up. But if I'm gonna sit here and say like which one is worse, bullying online or bullying in real life, bro, bullying in real life is so much worse than like online shit. Like when you start to get into like physical altercations with other kids, bro, I was like so lucky enough that I didn't really experience. Like I think I experienced like a little bit of bullying, but like not as much as like some other kids.
Worse. Is it any wonder that Gen Alpha is doomed? If Generation Z is as messed up as it is today, what's the generation of iPad kids gonna look like in 20 years? Especially when screens and social media are not only ruining their mental health, but also making them devoid of any emotion in the first place. You see, there isn't just a rise in TikTok tics, but social media sites like TikTok and YouTube are actually shown to increase psychopathy. Now, psychopaths, otherwise known as people who suffer from antisocial personality disorder, are characterized by their coldness, manipulativeness, antisocial nature, and narcissistic tendencies.
Oh,
and
dang.
of all the people in society, they tend to.
Well, yeah, that's what happens when you leave people like a lot of the times. Whenever I hear people saying like things like just leave people the fuck alone, that usually applies to like older people, and it's like stop messing with me, just leave me the fuck alone, leave me to my own self, leave me to my own devices. But then when you say that and you apply it to like a kid or a child or something, it's like then the kid is just alone by themselves. I mean, I understand like the meaning is different in the two different contexts, but like I'm not gonna sit here and say, oh, you should be like always like trying to mess with a kid or something. Like, oh, that's like not what you should be doing. But I don't know.
To be some of the most toxic, doing whatever is needed to get what they want when they want it. Society and your well-being is of no importance. They will do anything they can to get whatever they want. And this disorder is often associated with early childhood encounters such as maltreatment and rejection. And yes, you probably guessed it, extensive use of screens and social media. To be diagnosed with psychopathy, one must be over the age of 18. Before 18, a child is diagnosed with something called conduct disorder, a severe behavioral problem which often involves aggression and law-breaking tendencies. And the research clearly shows that childhood CAD symptoms are significantly associated with greater daily social media use during emerging adulthood, and that more daily social media use is significantly associated with various antisocial behaviors. Holy
shit, dude. I didn't even know this was a thing.
conduct in childhood is a strong predictor of criminal behavior in adulthood. And
oh my God. Social media and like all these little devices are just creating criminals at a way higher rate than violent video games. What the shit? I mean, I would be curious to see like the actual numbers.
if you think about it, our society already in the West is designed to promote the most psychopathic of all. The most greedy, narcissistic are rewarded the most. And this hamster wheel is only going to increase, especially with screen time hampering our capacity to interpret facial expressions and acquire social skills, both of which are crucial elements of cultivating empathy. And once social media removes empathy from the human equation, and you quickly find yourself surrounded by
the Sigma walk.
A large amount of Patrick Bateman-like people, the most virtue-signaling, empty, vacuous, plastic people, who have no care for the society that has brought them up, or the people around them. Just more instant gratification, more dopamine. This is the generation of iPad kids. And of course, not everyone's going to be a psychopath, of course not. It's an incredibly rare thing in the first place. But the lack of empathy and growing narcissism that growing up on an iPad causes is a really worrying sign, especially when you look at modern day influencers today, the people actually raising your children. You see more and more influencers are always
all of them
there in your child's life now. They're the ones on your screen.
And it's so weird because like all of those people, they all probably have like I would say at least a significant percentage of their audience are at least under 18.
One's trend-jacking TikTok, the one setting the culture of today. And when you look at the biggest influencers now who form their opulent lifestyles and endorse things like OnlyFans, are these really the people you want raising your children? The Adam 22s, Logan Pauls, Neons of the world. All of these shallow, superficial beings who fills kids' head with idiotic, sometimes dangerous ideologies. And worryingly, as more and more studies show, influencers are having a profound impact on the psyche of kids, shaping their ideologies through the spread of distorted
that little clip. I remember seeing that.
Materialistic wealth, greed, self-absorption, and just bottom of the bucket behavior. Your daughter's being raised by Cardi B, Ruby Rose, Sexy Red, rapping about their genitals and the glories of promiscuity, warping little children everywhere with the impression of what others actually find attractive. Boys who are told to get more hoes, to get more money, to neglect culture and tradition, and screw everyone over. Children who are influenced by adult content at such early ages. I'm not
like, the thing is, like, there's nothing wrong with some influencers trying to say like you should probably go out and better yourself, but the memes that he's using as examples, because I mean they are popular, like all those people he mentioned are popular, and there's probably a significant amount of kids that are just part of that audience that consume that content. It's like the crazy people that he mentioned are able to penetrate into the younger audience, but like the more grounded type of, I don't know, influencers, they just can't reach that like super young audience because I think the algorithm just doesn't feed them things like that. I think.
Not even kidding. Today, kids as young as 9 are regularly exposed to adult content.
Yeah, the algorithm is always going to feed them like the thing that's trending, the thing that's popular, the more bombastic like behavior. It's not going to peddle to the little kids, oh, this is how you should probably start working out, you should probably start doing this, you should probably eat like this, and this is how you conduct yourself in life, and the things like that. This is like the manners that you do in front of this type of person and whatnot. Like I would say seldom that is just like a thing that kids are consuming. Kids don't want to consume that type of content to begin with, so why would YouTube feed them that type of content?
And this is not the adult content of your parents' time. We all know what this is.
I mean, I'd say YouTube, but like I mean like all the social medias.
It's the most degenerate, debauched content imaginable. Compilations of the worst things you can think of, completely destroying your children's dopamine. Because in our society, people are just too tired and overworked to even have the time to raise their children properly anymore. So giving them an iPad to numb them just seems like the easier option today. But when you really
you can always depend a lot of times, not every time, but a lot of times, on people to take the path of least resistance.
Think about what's going on here. When you really think about what they're being influenced by, the fact that children everywhere are watching this kind of content before they've even had their first kiss, what is this doing to children's brains? Well, not only is it ruining their attention span and their empathy, but it also has detrimental effects on their developing prefrontal cortex, a region of the brain responsible for rational decision making and impulse regulation. Consequently, when this area is compromised, children are prone to displaying impulsive behavior and making even worse decisions. Without a fully functioning prefrontal cortex, a human runs the risk of living life full of recklessness and poor choices. Even the iPads given out in schools aren't safe. There's just more and more stories emerging involving young children.
The schools are giving them to them.
Given unfiltered iPads and being fed the most disturbing material by these algorithms. Although Apple's screen time was introduced in 2018 to stop this very sort of behavior, with restrictions ostensibly designed to help parents and educators, it's usually never that effective. Children can just easily circumvent these minor obstacles and end up accessing the most depraved content you can think of.
Access to porn on
shows
Jesus.
That 1 in 4 young students have watched harmful or violent content online while in the classroom, and 17% were watching it on a school device. And even
dang. Admit to shopping during class. 19% of those even using school-owned devices to do so. God dang, dude.
Even 1 in 10 children have used gambling sites through these iPads.
1 in 10 use gambling sites? Bro, no wonder. Oh my God, what is happening? What is happening online? Bro, it's like... It almost feels like little kids do not belong online. It's just, they're just going to get served the most bullshit things that can just, the bottom of the barrel, or not the bottom of the barrel, but like the worst things you could think of, your kid has probably seen. Gambling, porn, what else? Like excessive, like violence. I don't know about, probably not like gore or whatever, but like, I could see like the what is it called, like the rapid funnel, like the down, what's that called, like circling the drain type of thing, of like one thing leading to another, and just it goes down.
And again, to be clear, all in the classroom. If all this isn't depressing enough though, there's one thing that's even worse than a generation of iPad kids: predators exploiting Generation Alpha. Now this happens with every generation, and they say that in a city, you're never more than 6 feet away from a rat. But online it seems children are never more than 6 clicks away from a predator. You see, social media has in many ways created a safe haven for predators who can hide behind fake profiles and lure unsuspecting children into potentially life-destroying, even life-ending traps. Now, the Wall Street Journal published an extensive report showing
what? Instagram connects vast pedophile network. What the shit, dude?
How Instagram connects a vast predator network around the globe. And although Instagram users are supposed to be at least 13, many users are as young as 10. And
holy shit, wait, let me go back and read that.
Published an extensive report showing how Instagram connects a vast predator network around the globe. And although Instagram
requires everyone to be at least 13, that is still too young. 13 years old before they can create an account. Some regions like South Korea, Spain, or Quebec have different age requirements. So what does that mean? They have increased age or decreased age? Probably like the increased age. So hopefully accounts that represent someone under the age of 13 must clearly state in the account's bio that the account is managed by a parent or manager. Yeah, no 12-year-olds or under are going to create accounts and state that they are like under 13-year-olds accounts. Like no kid is doing that. If your child is younger than 13, has an account that isn't managed by you or a manager, you can show them how to delete their, yeah, they're not doing this, dude. This is like for liability. Oh man.
Users are supposed to be at least 13. Many users are as young as 10. And this number is going down
10?
and down as more and more kids get iPads. And unbeknownst to them, that young child there.
Bro, the other day, I was doing like an event and some kid asked, like, I'm trying to think of like what age range he's from. He's like between 12 and like maybe 15. This kid walks up to me and he's like, "Hey, you got Riz?" It was like a dude and like a pack of his friends. I just laughed at him. I was like, no. And I was like, those kids know that word? That's crazy. Like, I barely know that word. But these little like 10, 11, 12-year-old kids know what, and they're just like, you know this word, what that word mean?
Communicating with is in fact a 58-year-old man with the most vile intentions imaginable. Meanwhile, TikTok, the most popular social media platform in existence, has been called the perfect platform for predators. Now, we all know the online world is crawling with monsters, the type of people who specialize in destroying children's lives.
Oh, geez.
A recent study conducted by Israeli and American cybersecurity experts reveals that predators who contact kids through social media exploit security breaches to secretly activate their webcams without the knowledge or consent of the children. And at the same time, there's been a huge increase in cases of children falling prey to online extortion, sextortion, the criminal act of manipulating children who are then coerced into sharing explicit images of themselves with abusers. These abusers then threaten to distribute the pictures if a ransom is not paid to them.
Sexual predators are on a new playground here, targeting kids by chatting with them while they play popular video games.
This is just like another reason why little kids do not belong online.
CBS 8's Anna Marie McNichol working for you with how parents can protect their kids from becoming victims.
Where children are spending their time online, predators are lurking.
And disturbingly, an increasing number of reported content now involves the most severe category A images. And even more worryingly, is that children are now able to use iPads to access the dark web so easily. Now, as many of you may know, that the dark web consists of a hidden collective of internet sites, only accessible by a specialized web browser, Tor, where people can then sell various...
Bro, I didn't even know any of that, to be honest. I am so like surface level with like the internet.
Items and services, anything illegal that you want. And it recently emerged that an 8-year-old child used his iPad to access the dark web and buy...
What the hell? 8-year-old had no trouble. No trouble. This article would have read so different if it read like an 8-year-old had some trouble buying an AK-47 online and mailing it home, but it was literally no trouble. Like an 8-year-old? Bro, like, what was I doing at 8? I surely wasn't smart enough to like do any of like this shit. Like, what the fuck was I doing at 8? I'm trying to think. What was I doing at 8? I think I was literally just like messing with Pokemon cards and trying to figure out how to get out of my house in Pokemon Blue, because I didn't realize that all you had to do was walk on the carpet and hit down on the carpet. I was sitting there for hours, dude. But this? Buying guns online and mailing it home?
A number of ridiculously dangerous items, including an AK-47. The gun even arrived to his house, with the mother eventually handing it over to the police. But this brought up an uncomfortable discussion here. If kids are being raised by iPads, they will see every corner of the internet, and accessing the dark web on an iPhone or iPad is remarkably easy. And once a child does so, he or she enters a world where their safety and innocence becomes endangered almost instantly. You see, 1 in 50 children are affected by child identity fraud, and more than half of victims are children under 9 years old. So what makes a child's identity so attractive? Well, it's likely because their social security number and credit history represents a clean slate that may remain untouched and potentially unchecked for possibly quite a few years, even decades. And if the theft goes unnoticed, a criminal could utilize a child's social security number to establish a credit history over an extended period. And this deception may remain concealed until the child seeks a driver's license, employment, or financial assistance for education. One thing that won't be rare with Generation Alpha and iPad kids especially is the rise of involuntary celibates, lonely, sex-starved young men embittered by a sense of romantic failure who find each other in communities online. You see more and more with things like Tinder, with Instagram, with adult content. All of this stuff is...
This video is taking like a turn now. Jesus. Touching on incels and shit now?
Affecting the mental health of everyone everywhere, but especially Generation Alpha, as I've already discussed. But one thing this does is create a lack of community and cohesion. You never get to connect with people your age. And the more this happens, especially...
Bro, it's like, even if you're like a parent, you can still kind of fall back on the fact that like, oh, my kid gets plenty of like social interaction. They're at school. They may have this like 1 or 2 extracurricular activities. It's like, bro, I went to like I visited like a high school. Well, not visited, like I had to go there for like a job. But like, bro, a lot of the times there was like the outside class, what was it called? Gym. Like there were people like on their phones, like under the bleachers, like doing trying to make little TikTok dances and videos and shit. It's like school is so different now than it was like when I went. It's like the popular person at school isn't defined by like are they like the athletic jock person? Are they like just a pretty girl? It's literally defined like your social media online presence and how many followers you have. Like how many likes did your last video get? Oh, it got like 1,000 likes. Oh, you're the new popular person today. Oh my god.
Especially to Generation Alpha, the more involuntary celibates you get, people who can't interact with the other sex because they've never been socialized properly. And this ties in with a huge drop in testosterone levels amongst young men. In fact, prolonged social media use actually lowers testosterone levels in males.
It's been shown that social media can cause the lowering of testosterone levels.
Bro, I'm about at the damn point of like anything can lower your testosterone levels, dude. Like literally anything. Like stress, sleep, like not getting enough sleep, having like an increased amount of stress, like not exercising, not eating correctly, not getting all the like vitamins, minerals and shit. And now it's like when you start over consuming social media, that lowers your test. Like what the heck? They're just like layering on things for this list, dude.
It's affecting their sex drive and mood. More and more males are struggling with depression, anxiety, and loneliness. And this completely coincides with the drop in testosterone. Now there's so many factors for this, and I've discussed this multiple times on this channel. And whilst there's the food, the water, the hormones in our environment, social media and digital devices are also draining the masculine vigor out of young men, rendering them limp, lifeless, loathsome, and lonesome. In fact, the average teen to...
What is that? Was that a limerick? I heard that. Something limp, lifeless, lonesome, and something. That was good limerick. I heard that. I got that.
Day is now spending up to 6 hours per day doom scrolling their lives away, and probably far more on their computer as well. And so just imagine a 5-year-old, 6-year-old, 7-year-old.
There's nothing wrong with spending some time playing video games, but there is a problem when the time becomes excessive. So I will say that. To what degree do you think excessive is probably going to be up to you.
8-year-old kid getting addicted to these algorithms from such a young age, getting their dopamine fried by these devices. By the time they're 18, they're already a full-on social media addict, with their brain fried, wasting their lives away looking at pixels. By the time they're 18, most children now in Generation Alpha will have probably spent close to 5 years completely online.
God dang.
That literally in the time spent looking at the devices. What does this do to a healthy human being? Is it any surprise that Generation Alpha will get angrier, fatter, dumber, lonelier? Things are bad now, but sadly things are only going to get worse here. If parents continue
like in that movie WALL-E, where all the humans are just floating around on those old floaty chairs, all like obese and whatnot. Is that the future?
To bring up their children with iPads. And the sad fact is that most parents don't know any of this stuff. They have no idea the consequences because they never experienced this themselves. And it's so much easier giving a kid an iPad than taking them out to do sports, which means a whole new generation is emerging. That's why Generation Alpha may very well prove to be the most problematic generation in all of human history. Especially with the rise of AI, an iPhone moment on steroids, where will this put Generation Alpha? Those born between 2012 and the mid-2020s will grow up in a world where AI is...
What do you think people say more? Just Google it or just chat GPT it? Or just Bard it? You know?
Not mum and dad will reign supreme. We already have people marrying pixelated characters. Relationships are dying out. AI is just adding fuel.
This is a thing.
And as humans spend less and less time interacting in the real world and more time immersed inside virtual ones, AI partners may very well replace human ones. And as the iPads grow up, we may very well be living in idiocracy in just a few decades.
Oh, Jesus. Dang, dude. That was crazy. Oh, man. The disturbing rise of iPad kids. Bro, that's crazy. More and more kids are just getting raised up on like iPads and smartphones and whatnot. That's crazy, dude. That was a really good video. I didn't know a lot of that shit in there. Yeah. But yeah, it was another banger, dude. Yeah, I can't wait to see the next one. But that's pretty much it for me. I'll catch you guys on the next one, all right? Later.